Good morning. It is day 15, officially halfway through the month, and halfway through Nano if you happen to be new doing Nano, halfway through my challenge, which means I should be further ahead in my book than I actually am, but that's totally okay. So if you watched my video yesterday, I edited basically everything I've written but one chapter, purely because my eyes were burning and I was tired. But I edited 13 chapters, sent them off to my editors, which was about 32,000 words, and I can see that they've been editing. I keep getting notifications, so that's good. I'll go and review that. So a few videos ago I talked about how kind of loosely following the Save the Cat way of writing and plotting, not that I'm plotting, I'm discovery writing, but following that, and how we had beat 6, which was break into 2. So this is the second act where Alex has now accepted that he's going to take on this case. He's accepted, so if you're writing, this is where, the inciting incidents happened. The main character is trying to refuse it, but this is where they accept it and decide they're going to pursue whatever it is in the story. So in my case with Alex, he's tried to refuse the case and he's going, but he's been talked into it, so he's going to accept it. The next beat, according to Save the Cat, is the B story, so where it's bringing in other characters. So I have, one of the chapters I've just written is containing a lady called Sarah who he has met before. He met her at a bereavement group. She's there because of the death of her sister. Obviously, he's gone there because of the death of his wife. And he actually got dragged there by his mother-in-law because she's trying to help him overcome the grief. And she's made friends with this Sarah, and she's kind of like trying to match them up, trying to help Alex. So they all went for a movie and dinner, including his ex-mother-in-law, and it's him that's struggling with the moving on after the death of his wife and possibly meeting somebody else. It's not necessarily her thinking he's abandoned his wife, as in her daughter. So this character Sarah was only actually talked about before. She was never actually a character that we've seen on the page. So I created an incident where Alex's daughter has been playing. She's fallen and fractured her wrist, gone to the hospital, and this is where that Sarah works. They bumped into each other. It was the end of her shift, and the grandma was there because she'd been looking after the granddaughter, and as a treat, the granddaughter stroke Alex's daughter was like, where do you want to go for dinner? Cheer you up because you just busted your arm. So she's like, I want to go to McDonald's, kind of thing. So then Nina, who is his mother-in-law, has kind of invited this Sarah along. Oh, do you want to come with us since the end of your shift? And Alex is kind of like refusing this. So I've still got him on the refusal of this bit. So I've written those 2 beats for Save the Cat. So I wasn't purposely following the Save the Cat way of writing. I have read that book and it's a fantastic book, and if you get the chance, go and pick it up. It is really a good structure. I'm just loosely following it to make sure I'm on the right path. So the next beat is beat 8, and this is called the Fun and Games beat, and it accounts for 20 to 50% of your book. So by the time I finish this beat, I should be 50% through my book. So this is basically says this in this long sequence of multiple scenes or chapters is where we see our hero in a new upside down world of Act 2. They're generally loving it or hating it, succeeding or floundering. We want to see the hero pursuing that goal you set up in Break Into 2. So this is where you show the hero either making strides to achieve that goal or struggling to achieve. The beat is also called the promise of the premise because this is the section of the story that represents the hook of the novel. In other words, why the reader picked up the novel in the first place. So this is a really good chunk, and it's going to take me to the midpoint, to the middle of the book. Now, the midpoint of the book is where Alex should get a false victory. So this part of the story is where we're going to have him uncover people in Madeline's life who would have wanted to kill her and who would have wanted to harm her, or not necessarily wanted to kill her, but there is motive. So if you don't want spoilers, shut off now. But basically, Madeline works as a high-class escort to support herself and her sister. She has fought off the advances of a local pimp who wanted to hire her. She did not want to just go into prostitution. That wasn't the point. She was trying to escape the rubbish life that her mother set up for her. But she did go into escorting just because it's easy money. And yes, she does sleep with some of her clients, but she's very choosy. And so you've got the pimp that she has a history with, who she actually hit. And there's some, there's a story between them. One of her clients is one of her professors at the university, who is married. So you've got motive with him as well. Obviously, because he's married, he's got children, and his job. So if it turns out that he's sleeping with other students, that's his whole life turned upside down. She's also in her last year of her PhD, so she does have a placement within a clinical psychology setting, and she doesn't want to lose that job. So this is where her professor is, but also she has a patient who has taken quite an attachment to her, and one of her roommates has said that he randomly turns up in places. So, and one of the roommates thinks that he did it because it's schizophrenic, and he has the part of schizophrenia where they believe that somebody is in love with them. Most people get it for celebrities, but it can be got for other people. So he's kind of like, tells people he's her boyfriend, he's a bit creepy, but he's harmless, or he appears to be harmless. So he's going to be one of the suspects as well. And then she has an actual boyfriend they had a fight on the night she died. They had a fight because he doesn't like her escorting. Naturally, she tries to say it's completely separate. All these people, there's nothing to her, it's just to be paid. If he doesn't like it, it's him that has to leave. She's not giving up the job, kind of thing. And then we have an ex-boyfriend who is quite popular, big ego. She embarrassed him, got him kicked out of his course, made him look stupid in front of his dad. So we've got all these people in her life who would have a motive that could lead to murder. So for this beat, which is the fun and games, I'm going to send Alex around a goose chase around all these people. Obviously one of them did do it, but I'm going to send him around and take him to the midpoint. I'm also going to develop him with Sarah and their kind of relationship, although I don't want to lean too heavy into it because it's not a romance, it is a crime book, but it's okay to have a romantic subplot. And I think from the crime books I've read, they make it quite. So while writing this book, I've also been reading other crime books just to keep me within the genre, to keep me up to date with the tropes and all the beats and things like that. So I have been reading J.D. Robb's In Death series, and I'm on book 4 now. And I have to say, they're fantastic. And she manages to really balance the detective's personal life and her business life well. You feel like you really get to know Eve, her wants and her likes and stuff like that. And I do like that. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve with Alex. That you get to know him both as a detective, but also as a man and a father and a widow and all the other aspects of his life. And that's what I like. I did read another book, and because I didn't like it, I'm not going to tell you who wrote it or what it's called, because I am not for giving negative opinions of books, because opinions on books are all subjective, and so it's not fair on the author. Just because I didn't like the book doesn't mean it's not a great book. But I just was recently reading a book and I have DNF'd it because it's a female detective, and she's new in town. This uses this. She's new in town. Someone's been murdered, and like my usual complaint, it feels like it's been written as a first draft and published as a first draft without any editing to it. So the characters are reading very flat. So the character does have a daughter who she takes to crime scenes with her, which I don't think works. And then the daughter is kind of helping with the investigation, and the daughter's only like 13. And I don't know, it didn't work for me. I get that the author was trying to show the balance in this character's life, but it just didn't work, and it was very flat, and I can't even remember what the detective's name is. That's how two-dimensional the characters were. There's not much mention of her, and yeah, I just didn't like it. But I'm learning a lot reading a variety of different books, and I do keep going back to the J.D. Robb ones because I'm really enjoying those, but I'm trying to read other books in between. So I'm going to go now. I'll probably be home within an hour. I'm going to try and get some words in. And then I have more packing to do because it's that time of the year, and this is what happens when you've had a Kickstarter and you have to send out lots and lots of orders. But I'm not complaining, it's all fun. So I shall see you later and hopefully update you this evening having written some words. Bye! Hi! So at this point I'm going to be like, 30-day novel challenge. What 30-day novel challenge? Because I'm obviously not going to achieve it, which is fine. Today I got just shy of a couple of thousand words, and I'm back to fulfilling orders and getting those in, so that's okay. The orders were handwritten letters, so I had to do that, and that took some time. I ended up with some errands I had to do. Obviously I'm going to get a dog in this video again. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, just a short update. I've got less than 5,000 words now to finish Nano, and if I have a good day tomorrow I could do it tomorrow and win Nano, which would be totally acceptable. I think one of my problems over the last few months is like putting too much pressure on myself with the writing, and that kind of killed it and made me not want to write. So I'm giving myself permission to fail this challenge, and if I fail it, it's totally okay. But I've written, and that's what I have to keep reminding myself. And I am moving forward in my goals, and I'm getting lots of work done and still being productive, so that's fantastic. I'm going to sign off now. It's actually, I think it's about 8:30 in the evening, and I'm actually going to go and have an early night after I've edited this, just because I've been going to bed about midnight and getting up at 5 and I can feel it. So I'm going to go get in bed and just read, and whenever I fall asleep is whenever I fall asleep, and I will be back up tomorrow for another day of trying to write. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. How's your NaNoWriMo going? How many words have you got? And if you're like me and behind on your own goals, it's cool. We're writing, but I will see you tomorrow. Good night.